4 years later, how you were able to sort of get it under control to be able to get back in the ring?
Yeah, I'm very happy. It took some time off. You know, I was always rushing, fighting, preparing for the next guy, and the next guy. So now I feel like I had you know, sometimes you need a break, you know, and I took a break, and I'm happy to be back. You know, it feel like rejuvenated.
Hey, one for Mike. Obviously, we're just a few weeks away from the fight, right here in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
You're having to fly across the country to do this media day or across the continent. Is this kind of annoying having to break camp here so close to the fight?
No, not in the slightest. I'm having a great time. See, George keeps saying that I'm an angry guy. I'm having a great time. This is the best training camp I've ever had in my life. So I trained Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in preparation for this. So, you know, yeah, it's no problem. It's a necessary evil. I'm ready to go right now. We still got just over 3 more weeks. So yeah, no, this is no problem. The next 3 weeks for me is just overkill, getting extra ready, you know, working on getting back to my feet for when George tries to hide from fighting. That's what people do. When they take you down, they're just trying to hide from fighting because they haven't got the balls to stand and fight like a man. Right, George? Come on,
we'll
say something. Come on, George.
And for you, George.
There's the tongue again. Did you see it? There it is. There it is. Do it again. Do it again.
George, last time we saw you guys together, when you were facing off, you gave Michael a little push during the stare down. What happened there? Was that just your emotion getting the best of you, or what happened?
That's that. He's putting his hand on me. He's like, get out of here.
I was just admiring your muscles, big biceps.
He was jealous because I was in a better dress than his, you know. So.
Hey, George, I have never once looked at you and been jealous, pal. Never once. 5'9", 6'2". Leave it there.
It'll be after the fight, I guarantee you.
Oh, I guarantee it.
And George, I mean, where does your feelings towards Michael stack up towards some other opponents? I mean, I know you kind of had a dislike for Nick Diaz, or just, is this kind of fun for you, or is there actually some disdain there?
All this is a mind game, and then I'm used to that. They always come out with the same song all the time. I hear it before, so it's no problem. And it's not gonna change anything to me. I'm focusing, I do my talking in the fight, and that's it. You know, I'm not, English is not my first language. If I would start a war, if I would start a war of word with Michael, he's British. I'm French Canadian, and I can't. My English is not as good as his, so he will win every time. So I choose my battle. I'm gonna fight him in the octagon and beat him there. That's where it's important for me.
Yeah, go George, everybody. Cheer. Enjoy that cheer now, because there is no way on earth that you can win. Listen, I respect George. Do you want me to talk, or do you want to get the fuck out? GSP, let's go. Enjoy it, Canada. Embrace it. GSP is gonna get fucking wiped out. That's about it. That's about it. Listen, I respect George. George is a good fighter. George is a great athlete. He's a good martial artist. I was expecting some more you douchebags to have the fucking headbands on from Karate Kid today. Where are you all? Where are the GSP fans? Come on, George. What the fuck's going on? This is your place. Where are the hordes of people? I'm really upset. Listen, I respect George. I know it's going to be a tough fight. I'm not expecting a walk in the park, but I'm having a bit of fun with him. Of course I'm going to bust his balls. I'm going to bust his fucking face in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, so I'm going to bust his balls now.
And just one for Dana really quickly, a little bit off topic, but you guys announced your main event for your next show in Canada yesterday between Dos Anjos and Lawler. Is it safe to assume that's a #1 contender fight in the welterweight division? Winner of that probably fights Woodley next?
Yeah. Question first for all three of you guys, but first for Michael, right in front of you, right here, Mike. When you realized you were coming to Toronto, obviously George St. Pierre's country and stuff like that, you're dealing with hostile territory. Do you prepare yourself mentally to deal with the fans here and the media, or do you just show up? Because you've been here so many times.
Yeah, you know, listen, I've got a lot of friends here in Toronto, so coming here for me was great. You know, I love this city. Of course, George is Canadian. You people should, of course, cheer for George, and I expect nothing less. Fighting predominantly in America and all over the world, actually, for all of my career, I'm always going into hostile territory. So this is nothing different. And George he's been a fantastic representative for you guys. You know, he's a great martial artist, he's a great fighter. He was an undefeated champion. So of course you guys respect him, and I respect him, of course. Even though I'm sitting here talking all this shit. I respect the hell out of George, and that's why I've trained the way I've trained. Believe you me, this will be the best version of myself there in 3 weeks.
And George, for yourself, just to follow up on the previous question regarding opponents trying to get into your head, does it ever get to the point where you just roll your eyes because you've heard it so many times, or does it actually get to the point where it's like...
Don't put words in his mouth.
It actually does annoy you, or you want to actually make him pay, because as you know, emotion is dangerous in a fight. You've got to stay focused.
I'm very good at not letting my emotion taking over.
Apart from when he punches people on stage. Which he did last week, George.
No, I didn't. If I punch you on, if I would have punched you, you would be knocked out on the
because,
floor.
Because George knocks people out all the time.
For me,
he hasn't had a finish since 2009.
For me, I found it amusing. It's not even annoying, it's amusing.
Who was the last person you knocked out, George?
I'm having a good time right now. It's amusing.
Who was the last person you knocked out?
I've been... You'll be the next. You'll be the next.
Les personnes who knock out there. Who was it?
He's the next one. It's not gonna go 5 rounds.
I'll tell you this. I knocked out 3 people this week in training, and that's a true story. I knocked out 3 people this week. You haven't knocked anyone out in fucking God knows how long, pal. So cut the bullshit, okay? No need to lie to your people, George. These are your people. Don't lie to them.
Dana, an easy segue right to you. I mean, as a promoter, you're there to promote fights, but when you get 2 guys like this, or at least one for sure, and Michael, that makes your job easier. Do you enjoy it? Just sit back and let the guys do what they want to say? And a second part to that question, do you ever sit back and have a conversation with them, like, guys, don't say this or don't say that, or do you just let them go?
I've never told any fighter what to say or what not to say in 16, 17 years.
I wish he did. I'd say a lot less dumb stuff.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. When we promote fights, there's either guys who can talk, they're not. There's guys who respect each other. At the end of the day, if you look at the UFC over the last however many years, we've had a handful of shows that have been bad. These guys deliver. Whether they talk or they don't talk, they always deliver.
Dana, that may be too far before the fight to ask this, but I mean, George is obviously a huge star in this country. Do you have any idea about how this is tracking and what the interest level is in Canada at this point?
No, not yet. It's too soon. We won't know until 10 days before the fight how it's tracking.
Okay. And then, Michael, you mentioned this training camp going amazingly. I know both before and after the Rockhold fight, you'd said that the more condensed camp had allowed you to maintain more power. I mean, what have you taken from that? And I mean, is that sort of what's driven this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've done this for a long time, and I've learned. I did pretty much consistently overtrain. My last fight, I actually shot a movie halfway through the training camp. I haven't done that this time. I've been focused 100% on George. I'd be a fool not to. You know, he brings a lot of things to the table. So this training camp predominantly has been working on stopping people taking me down and smothering me and cuddling me and stopping fighting and trying to focus on actual fighting, okay? Trying to give the people a show, George. Trying to fight. What's it called? The Ultimate What Championship. What's it called? Or is it wrestling? Is it wrestling or fighting? What is it?
You'll be in a fight. Don't worry about that.
Nice. There we go.
And then, I mean, this is his first time fighting at middleweight. Are there particular fights of his that you have been able to revisit in order to sort of anticipate?
You know, I try watching his fights. I fall asleep all the time. I swear to God, I do. I sit there. I have a coffee, which is a stimulant to keep me awake, and I still can't do it. I fall asleep every time.
This coming from a guy who defended his belt 1 time. I defended 9 times. 9 times.
Yeah.
Who are you, man?
George.
Who are you? What have you done?
I'm just
what have
getting
you
started.
done?
Hey, I've got more wins
0.
in the UFC than anyone. And I was fighting people on steroids like yourself. You know, we all, hey, I hear the stories, George. I hear the stories.
I've done it too. Way more. Oh, yeah.
What about that camping trip you went on to avoid USADA?
You don't even believe that yourself, you know? Like,
Oh, so you know what I'm talking about. Set yourself up there, pal.
See, all this to me is relevant. Is to take me out of my mental game, and it's not gonna work.
This is part of your mental game.
No matter what he says,
mental?
no matter what he does, it's irrelevant for me. You know, it's irrelevant. I'm gonna beat you up November 4. That's all matter to me.
Okay.
That's the end of it. And then you're gonna go and retire. It will be the end of you.
We'll see, buddy. It's gonna take a bigger pile of shit than you to do it. That's a fact.
You wanted to have a big payday, then after you gone on the sunset, that's what's gonna
I'm
happen
the
to
guy
you.
that's
You
been
would be
fighting
gone.
the whole. Look, he's getting mad. Look at him. He's gonna punch me again. Are you gonna punch me? Promise.
November 4, I
Can you
will.
keep your hands to yourself this time, George? Can you set an example for Canada? It's not a good example for kids punching people on stage. Not a good example saying if you lose you're gonna quit, is it? Because if you lose you're gonna quit, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, if I lose, but I'm not planning on losing anytime
That's
soon.
called a little bitch where I come from.
I'm not planning on losing anytime soon. I don't lose. I do not lose.
I'm pretty sure you got knocked out of Matt Serra, who's a smaller guy than you.
You get knocked out a couple of times too.
Yeah, it happens, buddy.
And you'll get.
Hey, yeah. I'm not sitting here saying that I've never lost a fight. I've fought all the time while you.
And what happened to Matt Serra? Yeah, I beat Matt Serra.
Here we
and I
go.
knocked
Here we
him out
go.
after.
Emotion,
All right.
emotion from the lizard. We got it. He's alive. Somebody check his heartbeat,
All
please.
the guy that beat
Somebody
me, I
check
beat
his
them back.
heartbeat.
That's
He's gonna bust a blood vessel. I can see a vein in his forehead now. Relax, George. Deep breath. Come on. Yoga. Meditate.
So, George, I'm asking this on behalf of RDS, so if you don't mind answering in French, followed by English. You've bulked up, obviously, for this fight to go to middleweight. You hired a nutritionist. What changed in your training regimen to get you to be a bigger man?
It was not really my training change. It's my nutrition. I never pay attention to really what I eat. I always eat whatever I want, whenever I want. And just changing the way I eat, it make a big difference. It took me like, this whole process was more than 6 months. I started like in last April. And a lot of people fail doing this because they try to do it during their training camp. When you add weight to yourself, you need to get used to that extra weight. Your body need time to adjust, and that's what I did.
Do you mind answering that in French as well?
Yeah. J'ai absolument rien changé de mon entraînement. Ce que j'ai changé, c'est ma nutrition, la façon que je mange et quand est-ce que je mange. Et c'est ce qui a fait une grosse différence dans mon gain de masse musculaire.
Both of you guys are champions. Demetrius Johnson this weekend had one of the ultimate...
George isn't a champion.
Both of you guys have been champions.
Thank you.
Demetrius Johnson had a fantastic
Only one
performance.
champion up here, pal.
Demetrius Johnson had the ultimate championship performance this weekend. What did you guys take from that? What did you guys enjoy from watching that particular fight?
He's the best fighter of our era right now. I believe he's the best pound for pound right now. You know, every era has great fighter. You know, yeah, I talk about era. So some guys were the best at their time, and you never fight the same fighter twice. You know, because of fight, a lot of things makes people change. But right now, as we're speaking, the best pound for pound is Demetrius Johnson, no doubt.
It's very good.
All right, and finally, George, at 36, people can become more injury prone. Did you change your training regimen to avoid injuries ahead of your fight? And if you could answer that in French, that would be great.
Can you repeat, please?
Did you have to change your training regimen at all to avoid injuries?
Nice. Some little thing that I was doing were wrong. Some of my neurological pattern were wrong when my knee was buckled in when I was jumping and landing. So I fixed all that. This is not even a concern anymore. It's gone.
So you're no longer getting abducted by aliens, right? Because that's what you said.
I think you got hit too much on the head, my friend. I don't know what you talk about.
All right.
Do you mind answering in French
I'm
as
not
well?
the one talking about aliens, pal. So.
Do you mind answering that in French as well, George?
J'ai changé quelques petits trucs dans mon entraînement. Quand je sautais, mon genou allait vers l'intérieur. J'ai changé plusieurs choses du côté neurologique de mon système nerveux quand je saute et j'atterris pour être certain que les blessures ne se reproduisent plus.
Michael, just here, third row. Obviously, winning Madison Square Garden would be like, you've talked about retirement before. Would you retire in Madison Square Garden, or would you want that one last fight in the UK?
Nah, listen, a lot of people were asking me about that, but I love this too much, and I love this whole process, getting ready for a training camp. 8 weeks ago, I was out of shape. Now I feel like I'm champion of the world. I can beat anyone on this planet, especially this guy, and I love that whole process. So, nah, I won't be retiring.
And George, just here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk, of course, the next fight for you, and a lot of people are lining up with Conor McGregor. You've said you might not want it. Is it definitely a fight you don't want, Mr. McGregor?
it's in my contract. It's Robert Whittaker, but he's the boss. Dana is the boss, so he decide what's gonna be next.
George is gonna be going back under the rock that he crawled out of. That's a fact. Boo that.
And Dana, just last one to yourself. Last weekend we've Tony Ferguson, the interim champion. Is he next for Conor? Is that definitely what you want, or is it Diaz, or what's your thinking on the situation?
What's next for Conor? Is that what you asked me?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the Ferguson fight is the fight that makes sense.
Just over here. First for Michael. Oh, hi, Michael. I'll run. Oh, sorry, then run this side.
Yeah.
Hi, first for Michael. I don't know if you've seen the trailer that came out on Saturday for your fight. It's a very glossy, like movie-style trailer. Obviously, it's really focused on George's comeback, not so much on your second title defense. You've been comfortable playing the villain in the past, but do you wish that it was a little more even or a little more in your direction?
Honestly, I couldn't care less. Listen, I've been fighting in the UFC for a long time, 12 years now. You don't need reminding that I'm here. We need reminding that George is back, because he's the guy that ran away. Now, fair enough. Listen, he had a lot of pressure. He was a champion for a long time. But that's the whole narrative of the story. George is coming back, stepping up a weight class. So, yeah, it doesn't bother me. There's a bit more limelight on him. At the end of the day, it leaves me alone. Filming that stuff takes time. I've been in the gym. I've been training, defending takedowns, George, getting back to my feet, submission escapes. He's been working out. He's been doing his point karate. I keep an eye on you, George. I see what you do on Instagram. Do this little fucking point karate. That's bullshit. Ain't gonna work, pal.
Thanks. And just a couple for George. George, you said how much
you think he's studying me by the information that I'm giving out to the public. You think he's getting an edge on me. You see how I was
oh, you're mind fucking me, George.
That's what he's thinking. He thinks he's getting an inch.
I don't think anything.
I give away these information for
really
people
perfect.
to see.
Oh my God, he got me. He got me so good. Shit. My coach, we've been working on the camp. Holy shit, he got us good.
You got it all wrong. Wrong.
George, you talked about how much you respect Michael. Where would you rank him amongst the greatest middleweights ever? Top 5, top 3, somewhere in that area?
Yeah, he has beat. His resume speaks by itself. Now we're on stage, I'm fighting him. He's trying to get on my nerve and stuff. But as a fighter, I really respect him. He accomplished a lot of great things in the sport, and that's why I was very excited to take that fight. I didn't want to fight nobody else than Michael. Michael is for me, is the highest guy right now in the sport. There is nobody else in the game right now that I can fight that will help my legacy as much as if I beat Michael Bisping.
The truth of the matter is that George fell into the trap of what a lot of people fall into. You fell into the trap of thinking he can beat me. That's it, plain and simple. That's why you want to fight me. That's why you keep asking Dana for me, nobody else. Because you think you can beat me. You think in your little tiny pea brain that you can beat me, but you can't. And that will be the mistake you made, the trap that a lot of people fall into. They look at me on TV, they say, this guy's beatable. But what you can't see is what I've got in here and what I've got in here. So, November 4th, you're going to find out, pal.
And just one more for George, sorry. You said you will retire if you lose. Is that the only way you see yourself ending your career like for good, is if you go on a loss, or do you have a set amount of years or set amount of fights?
No, I take a fight at the time, and I used to see too much ahead of time. I'm trying to have fun, live the present moment, and now I'm very happy that doesn't get bigger than this. Michael Bisping, middleweight title, Madison Square Garden. It's a dream come true. I couldn't wish for a better scenario. It's great, and I'm very happy. I wanted to have the biggest fight as possible for my comeback, and I'm at the best when I'm fighting under pressure, when I'm on the edge. That's when I perform the best.
Question for Dana, over here. I don't want to take away from UFC 217, but we're in Toronto. I got to ask, is a Toronto event on the 2018 agenda?
I have no idea. We just announced we're coming back to Canada here, and that card is going to be ridiculous, by the way, too. Very, very good card.
Got any more fights to announce for it?
Soon. What did we announce? Just the main event? Yeah. Ridiculous card. You guys are going to be happy. Huh? That's the last question. Last question? Yeah, go ahead.
We can hear you.
Thank you, sir.
Pretty sure.
George, I wanted to follow up on the OCD question from earlier. What were you working on the last 4 years? Because you have been open about it, which is admirable, in my opinion. But for people who don't understand OCD, can you give us an idea of what it's like in your mind? I know about it, but it's a struggle. So how have you experienced it? How have you gotten healthier with it? What's that process been like for you?
I never been diagnosed with OCD. I'm saying that I am because I'm obsessed, and there's a big difference being obsessed and being obsessive compulsive. I never been diagnosed. Like I said, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I'm not at the point that I open the door 3 times when I go somewhere, you know. But I'm obsessed in a way that.
Don't make fun of it, George. It's a real illness. Don't make fun of it.
I'm a workaholic. When I want something, I will work hard until I obtain it.
And following up on, you mentioned neurological patterns earlier. What did you mean? You said your neurological patterns were off, you had to get
Yeah, some people that have a problem with ACL, most of the time is because they call the valgus, is their foot point out and their knee buckle in. So it's the brain. It's used to when they jump, when they land in a specific way. This is not a muscular problem. It's a neurological problem. It's your nervous system that you need to correct. When you go do rehab, sometimes they only correct the muscular problem, but you need to go in the neurological pattern, and that's what I did. I work on correcting my neurological pattern, which makes the difference. So you take care of the problem at the source, not superficially.
And last one, sorry. And you mentioned also, when you were stepping away and you wrote in your book, about fears that are almost paralyzing, and, talking about different things you're dealing with internally and in your life. And just didn't know if there's anything else that you could elaborate on as far as what you've been working on the last 4 years that's helped you get back into a place where you feel like you can enjoy fighting again and feel like you can enjoy doing this sport again.
Well, I've been away for 4 years. I defend my title so many times, You keep talking trash, but he doesn't understand because you haven't been there.
You're boring everybody, George. Please, I'm going to fall asleep in a minute.
So you
Shut
only,
the fuck up.
Only a few people.
We're talking about
understand.
a fight, not your fucking knee problems, not your brain problems, not your alien problems, not your speech problems. We're going to fight November 4th. Fuck you all, Toronto. Yeah. I'll knock him out and I'll knock all you lot out. One by one, you fucking... Yes, GSP. The only guy from this country that can fight. And he can't even fight very well. What's happened to MMA in this country? What has happened? George disappeared, you all dropped off. George, come on. Represent.
All right. Calm down.
I'm good.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'm going to square these guys off here. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate it.